It was the summer of 1987. I had just turned 13 years old and was home alone one night while my parents were out at a party. My older sister, Jenny, was supposed to be babysitting me, but she snuck out to hang out with her friends instead, leaving me by myself in our creaky old house. Our home was built way back in the 1930s and stood tall amongst the small shops and houses of our little town. It had been in our family for generations and had an old world feel to it, with ornate woodwork, narrow hallways, and the perpetual scent of dusty antiques. I loved the character of our old house during the day, but nighttime was a different story. Shadows seemed to gather in unexpected corners, and the wind whistling through the walls sounded like ghostly moans. Ever since I was little, I felt uneasy being alone there at night. Jenny never seemed bothered by it, but she was braver than me. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone in that big old house. I made sure all the doors were locked and turned on every light I passed on my way up to my bedroom. Once there, I hunkered down in my bed with my dog Scooby curled up at my feet, taking comfort from his warm, steady breathing. Maybe I was letting my imagination get the best of me, I thought as I drifted off to sleep. A few hours later, I awoke with a start. Something had startled me, but in my groggy state, I couldn't remember what. Scooby was still snoozing away at the foot of my bed, grumbling to myself about interrupted sleep. I rolled over and closed my eyes again. Soon I drifted off, but suddenly I snapped awake once more. This time I was sure I heard the creak of a floorboard right outside my door. I held perfectly still, listening intently as the sound came again and again, like footsteps creaking along the old wood floor of the hallway, getting closer and closer. Frozen in fear, I just watched as the doorknob slowly began to turn. Creak. The door swung open, revealing only an empty hallway. It must be Jenny, home from her outing and checking on me before heading to bed. Jen, I called out shakily. No answer. Scooby stirred, blinking his eyes sleepily. After a few terrifying heartbeats, I chalked it up to the wind or house settling. I got up to close the door, then crawled gratefully back into bed, scolding myself for being such a scaredy cat. As I nestled under the covers once more, I let the relief of it just being my imagination wash over me. My eyes had just fluttered closed when I felt something, a presence, an unseen figure standing right beside my bed. My skin prickled with dread as every hair on my body stood straight up. And that's when it started. Shadowy, spindly fingers crept over the side of my mattress, inching steadily closer while a sudden weight pressed down on my chest. I strained to scream, but nothing came out. Out of the darkness, an inhuman voice hissed my name. Cold breath brushed my cheek like a drafty breeze as urgent whispers filled my ears, muted and unintelligible. I thrashed violently. Still paralyzed and mute, a shape began to form above me. A shifting, swirling black mass that grew larger and darker as it descended over my helpless body. The icy grip around my heart tightened, and I finally found my voice and screamed as loud as I could. Like a vacuum being switched off, the presence vanished in an instant. My scream echoed through the empty house as I leapt out of bed gasping for air. With Scooby at my heels, I turned on every light and blasted the TV for comfort, refusing to step back in my bedroom. I paced anxiously, double checked every lock, and clutched a baseball bat until Jenny and my parents finally stumbled in at 2 a.m. Of course, they chalked it up to just a bad dream. But I knew what I had felt, what I had seen. Something sinister haunts that old house, and it knows my name.